Okie dokie. Here we go. Let's make sure this is working. Okay, I guess we're good to go. I guess we're ready. There we go. It came up real fast. Hello, everybody. If it's New Year's Day, then it must be time to do this. That was very shocking. It normally takes quite a few seconds to actually go. This time it just went, nope, I'm ready.
I'm glad I wasn't talking about what I was talking about before we got started.
Indeed. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to talk about the reactions here. Happy New Year's, everybody. Happy 2021. We leave behind a dumpster fire that was 2020, and we start the new year off right with some new Lumineth, some new Slaanesh. We finally get the palanquin we've been promised for so long. We get all sorts of fun stuff, and we're going to break it down. We're going to go through. We've got images pulled. We've got all that. I hope everybody's having a happy New Year's. But everybody had I hope your hangovers aren't too strong or anything like that, if you're one of those types of people. So I hope you're having a nice New Year's Day. If you're somewhere else in the world where it's already not New Year's, I hope your New Year's Day was great. So yeah, we're gonna jump into it here in a minute, just letting everybody else join. But let's start at the very beginning with just some high level feelings before we get into the details. Since I heard Tom have kids in the background, I'll talk first. Great. So overall, I'm super excited about this. I love everything they previewed, even though we only got little snippets and shots. We're gonna break them down. I thought these were all fantastic. And, the palanquin is more or less exactly what I expected for Slaanesh. Obviously, we're going to deep dive into that. And all the rest of the models, it's time to see how did we measure up for our prediction show 2 days ago. We can't talk timing yet, but we can see. But some of the stuff we talked about is clearly reflected here.
It's
so let's
there.
go. Yeah. So, Tom, what's your high-level reactions to this?
I love the format.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna open with that.
Okay.
I love the animated rumor engine run, right? Because basically what they did was they took a bunch of video of little corners and pieces of models, and they're like, "Ha spoiled." And it was very engaging.
Yep.
From what we can tell, I'm very excited for most of the pieces.
Okay. Fair enough. I like that. So let's get into it. Of course, if you're watching this and you like it, hit like. It's always nice. Helps other people find the show. So hit like now, or subscribe if you haven't for more content and nonsense like this in the future. Here we go. First things first, I'm just going to kind of roll the video here. We're going to mute it, and then we're going to roll the video because it will play the sound, and it is very loud, and I don't want that to happen. I'm not going to pause too much because we have breakouts of all the stuff, so we're just going to let it roll here and kind of go through. Bunch of 40k stuff I don't care about, like a new Chaos type of War Machine, something for Adeptus Titanicus or Imperial Knights, and then an Adeptus Titanicus, and then an Adeptus Mechanicus thing. Cool beans. All great stuff, I'm sure. Neat. Now let's talk about the things that matter. First off, Goku Wind Mage. We're going to get into him in a second. He's exciting. We've got our new armored camel riding wizards. Well, they'll probably be wizards. Lumineth.
Or alpaca.
Or alpaca. Some form of long-necked, thing. We'll get to that. So we got some more of that. Witch Hunter confirmed. Ba-boom. Very excited about this guy. And then we've got our 2 different death models here. It actually shows us 2 different ones. Those aren't the same guy, you can tell, as I'll show. And then the big Slaanesh palanquin. So I want to start here. Hold on, I'm going to pause this for just a second on one model. Boom. Okay, so this is clearly a bony guy. This is a different guy than the dude we're going to actually spend a lot of time on. We just don't really get enough of this model to actually see what it is. So, it's clearly a death model. I mean, that's obvious from the pitted, rotted shield and the nature of the cloak and the rotted. You can see that even this weapon has lots of pits in it over here and stuff. But we don't really, the hand looks pretty bony. The leg is bone, right? You can see the skeletal leg right there. But we don't really get enough of this model to infer much of anything other than, okay, some kind of new undead skeletal dude. We had predicted new death. I think it's still going to be largely vampire focused. Like vampires at the head, but they're going to use it to refresh a lot of the death army to get their, the other death a lot of the languishing death models up to snuff, right? But we don't really get enough of this guy to say much. So I just wanted to call him out in the video. Okay. All right, so we'll get into those little snippets individually, but first let's talk about this palanquin, man. Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is great. Also, is this a little halfling down here? I think it is.
I don't know. But, like, if it's a halfling, Martin Orlando pointed that out. And here's the deal. If that's a halfling, he can touch his toes without bending.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at the arm length,
like that's his feet right there. That's his foot. Like you can see a foot there.
Again, like the arm to torso ratio is crazy if that is indeed a halfling. That's what I'll
say. That's fine. Could just be a very short person. So,
or it could be like a person without legs.
Sure. Yeah, I suppose.
Like if their sole purpose is to just move food before the gluttonous guy.
So obviously this thing is amazing. Yes, we're playing into the gluttonous nature of Slaanesh. I think it's funny that he has stitches on his belly as though he's, like, I guess, stretched out too far. Did he have gastric bypass surgery at some point? I'm not sure. Obviously,
it's the opposite of gastric bypass, right?
He had gastric increase surgery. Expansion, yes. Love all of his attendants, like the executioner clearly up there. Dude has a hookah. Just in case we missed that, he does have a hookah up on here, which I'm all about.
Yep.
Love that. And then he's got, the guy whipping the two mutants here with their giant claws. We've got the sort of peacock feathering food bearer here, as well as his bodyguard, and then his little server. So I assume this is like the bearer for the food. This is the one who feeds him. This is his bodyguard, and this is the one who drives the palanquin.
So who did it better? Catacross or Glutton guy?
I mean, I like this model better than Catacross, but if I had to sort of objectively state, I think that probably the Catacross model is more scenic, right? If that makes sense. It's more of a living diorama. This still feels like a model. Does that make sense? Like, this still feels like a model that's on the table. It makes sense how it, like, gets around and what's happening. Catacross is, by the way, I think they're the same sculptor. I just want to say that. So kudos to this sculptor who is straight killing it. I believe it's the same sculptor that did both Catacross and this palanquin.
Yep.
And that person is doing just bonzer work at GW right now. That person better have gotten a fantastic holiday bonus. That's all I'm saying, because they are tippy top of their game right now. They are Michael Jordan at his height of the sculpting world here. All the rings.
How do you like Slaanesh really branching out into the other areas of excess?
Yeah, they should. I mean, it's something that should happen. I'm going to switch that model. Let me just say that. Like, I won't have a big fat guy in the back of my model. Just because my dude's going to be more lithe than on pillows. I've already got the model I'm going to use to replace him. That's fine. I assume he's a guy who sits separately in there, because most time when they model this stuff, just the necessity of the sprue is that they have to keep them separate. Like, the chariot itself will be a thing, and then the guy will be a thing.
Yep.
So, that's...
I don't know. I might, if I get this and go this route, I might go get one of the Kingdom Death models, one of the lounging guys, and put him in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I like the aesthetic. It should be explored. It's just not my particular taste for my force. But that's not in any way a shot on it, okay? I think it's super cool. Here we go. Got a nice bunch of little images of the thing. Yeah, I mean, all the individual figures look incredible. I really, really dig the bodyguard with, like, the tooth sword and this mask. Like, this guy looks fantastic. So, all about this dude. What model am I going to replace him with? One of the Deceiver from 40K that's, like, wrapped around and is kind of, like, doing this. The Citan Deceiver. I think he'll fit. I'm just going to, like, heat him up so I can bend him into the right place and then put him in there because he needs to be sitting down. But he's, like, lounging almost naked with just, like, some cloth around him. He'll fit in perfectly. We were right on the rumor engine for the thing holding the stuff. I had said this was going to be part of the palanquin and was correct. I did not expect that this rumor engine would show up. here
Which one?
that are the snake holding teeth thing at the top. The
Mm,
thing that's
yeah.
holding the umbrella over top of him.
Yeah, I can't
Was a
remember
rumor engine.
the art is not connected for me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. This guy right here, this thing up top, is one of the rumor engines, as well as obviously the this thing on the back of the palanquin, as we said. So,
Yep.
I mean, that just felt super obvious. Lots of fun chances to do marble here. Love the guy. The attendants are fantastic. Gore Beasts weep at the awesomeness of these guys. The War Altar, or not War Altar, the gosh darn it, Tom.
Well,
Help
these
me
are
out
the
here.
same mutants. These are the war the Chaos War Shrines.
Thank you, War Shrine. Yes, the name would not click in my head. They're clearly a better, newer sculpt of those mutants, though. Like, if you put together those mutants from the War Shrine, they're just so kind of derpy. And, you know, and, like, these guys with the addition of the Slaanesh Claw, the remolded armor, right?
Well, and they have the
masks.
3 arms.
Yeah.
Like, at least the one guy does. Like the War Shrine guys.
Yeah, they're clearly a take on, like, they're on those original dudes. I'm just saying, like, what a lovely update to the War Shrine mutants, right?
Yep.
And the fact that they're just pulling it as opposed to holding it is something I always thought was weird, right? It was weird that the War Shrine guys are, like, carrying it around.
Yeah, because you got to remember that's a bumpy ride. Like, you got to think about it. Like,
well, and also what happens when they start fighting and then they just drop the guy on top? Like, no. Like, this feels right to me. Like, yeah, these dudes would just stand up and start fighting, right? And then that's okay. So yeah, love all of these. A+ work. I mean, this shrine is killing it. Fantastic centerpiece to the army.
Yeah.
Right.
And for those that don't want to do demons, you now have a Slaanesh centerpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is a caster, by the way? They did confirm that this guy's a spellcaster in the article. So it seems.
How many
like
wounds do you think this chariot's going to have?
Probably 10 or 12, something in that range.
So, do you know what I loved about this, by the way? Like, my favorite call out of this thing? If you look right underneath the hookah to the bottom and the right.
Yep.
This looks like it's the same. Like, they quarried this out of the same place where all the Daughters of Cain are quarrying.
Yeah.
Their statues for their Cauldron of Bloods.
I thought the same
because,
thing.
Yeah,
I will also point out that I have about 8 of those extra statue guys, so nice. I might find a use.
You're gonna do another tier on this Howdah. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Another level.
Yeah. Might have to build it up with more levels or more of those guys. Yes. Yeah. I mean, this thing. I'm sure we can.
And
just
you can see on the back too.
Yeah. There's one on the back, and then there's one on each side. Like, there's one down here, and then one on each side. Like here, and then there's another guy on the opposing side. Yeah, it's great. Not much more to say. Hookah, clear, like, food offering. Wonderful faces. I like this guy's face actually quite a lot because it looks really creepy and weird, but it's not.
Which one?
The middle guy, the Lash Master, the dude who's driving him.
Yeah.
I love how they're redesigning most of the Slaanesh faces. I think the food bearer's face looks a little weird because she has big dark eyes. I think if you actually didn't have these huge dark globes that they painted in there, she would just look like she has a pretty normal face. So, not sure about the new trend towards scarification in Slaanesh, but okay, it's fine. I just don't know. Like, one of the problems that I have with the scarification in current Slaanesh is that it's out of scale. Right? Like, I mean, I've met plenty of people who have body scarification who do that, right? That's like a thing you can go get. You can go have that done. And it's really small is what it usually ends up as, right? You're not burning like this. The scar isn't this wide, right? But if you scaled her up, that's how wide it would be on her arm, right? It'd be multiple fingers wide. So, at any rate, that's kind of my only issue with their scarification. They can't make it small enough with the sculpting to actually make it feel in scale for body scarification. I mean, when I did Celeste, I just cut it all off. I just shaved it all off and sanded it down. So, no big deal. I'll probably do the same here. So, at any rate, beautiful, awesome stuff. Now, let's get into all the other models from the reveal. This was the obvious one, right? This is the one they gave us. It's the newest one coming. beyond excited. Mutants look great. New claws look great. All the attendants look great. This is the centerpiece we wanted. This is Slaanesh just in a encapsulated. Freaking love it. Okay, so great. Now, let's get into all the rest of the model, shall we? Mm-hmm. Now, before we do that, we need to have a little story time.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a dual kit?
The palanquin? No, I do not. I think it's a single model. All those big things like that, they never make them dual kits. Why?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if you have an unnamed hero option as well.
Oh, yeah, it'd be nice, but no, I suspect it's a special character. By the way, what that will mean, like if you think about the symmetry of the release, that means there is one named melee character and one named spellcaster, and one unnamed melee character and one unnamed spellcaster.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, that feels right. Given they don't always do those kinds of things, Lumineth, but,
Yet. Lumineth, yet.
Okay. It's story time, though, first, Tom. You went and grabbed this awesome story right away. You were on this immediately.
I'm not going to take credit for it. It was floating around the Lumineth Realm Lord Facebook group. So I'm not going to take claim for this find, but I thought it was eminently relevant for what we're about to talk about. So we're going to read this.
Yes.
This comes. This is a short narrative from the Lumineth book on the invasion into the region of Zatrek, the skies of Zatrek, by the Blue Scribes that led a shoal of screamers. And they, what happened is when they pursued the Elementari, and let me remind you, the Elementari, there are 3 different, like, classes of elves.
Yep.
You have the Sinari, the Venari, and the Elementari.
Mm-hmm.
The Sinari are like the normal, like the wizards, and the Venari are like your standard, like your archers and your bowmen. The Elementari are the elves that were aligned with the elements. Mm-hmm. And so, like, for example, your big hammer-wielding cow elves are the Elementari. They have the Elementari keyword. So they're your elemental worshippers amongst the elves.
Yeah.
And it says, the Elementari of the Slicing Gale hear their patron wind spirit howling in protest. So if you'll remember, we have the mountain guys, which worship the cow mountain god.
Right.
The elemental spirit. Well, these are the Elementari of the Slicing Gale. They're the wind spirit aligned people. Mm-hmm. And it said the temple warriors raced across the Zor something desert after the invading sky shoal, their long-limbed riding beasts bearing them into battle at a breakneck pace so that they can launch killing shafts into the swirling sky ray formations. The Blue Scribes themselves duel the cloud-riding mages of the temples in scintillating explosions of magic that fill the skies. Yes. And so you have air temple aligned elves here being narrated. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 different types of elves being described. A long-limbed cav unit with bows.
Well, not necessarily
that
bows,
are shooting.
Yeah,
that are launching killing shafts.
Yes.
So they could be javelineers.
Sure.
On alpacas.
But a range type unit, yes.
Yep. And which it may not only be range, it could be a dual kit. And cloud riding mages.
Yes.
So Vince, tell me what did we see?
Bam!
In the images.
All right, so we've got our little Goku guy here riding his cloud, coming out of his magic stick. Magic stick cloud. Yeah, this guy's great. So here we're just going to pull out the individual. I just pulled out individual images from the video, so we can take a look at them. Yeah, so here we've got our little sky mages, right? So clearly this is going to be our cloud riding wizard. And yeah, I mean, feels like it's somebody who's matching the scribes and the Sky Shoal mages, so it's probably going to be a character.
Yep.
So good stuff. Yeah. Cool. Little Monkey King riding a cloud around. Seems good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting. I'm excited to see kind of where they go.
Clearly a lot of movement in the cape. Like, you can see how they've sculpted the
Yep.
model, so it's just a ton of movement,
Yep.
right? You can look back here.
Yep.
He's very much leaning into it. His cape is flourished
Yep.
out behind him. The cloud is roiling out behind him. Like,
I mean, that is a wind. Like, so here, that is a Lumineth model.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, that is 100%. You can see it in the moon. You can see it in the way that, like, the hammer pants combined with the hard armor pieces. The runes on the staff, like the whole deal. This is Lumineth. It is a Cloud Rider. We called a second wind of
yes,
of Lumineth models,
Yep.
and guess what? Here we go, folks.
So I have to believe that we're now talking about at least 3 kits, and I'll talk about why in a second when we get to the next one.
Yep.
Oh, I like the staff too. Somebody said I don't like the magic stick. No, I like the magic stick. I think magic stick looks cool. I have no problem with a stick. Okay, and yes, when you're riding your clouds, kids, it's always important, wear your helmet, wear your knee pads. You know, you want to avoid those injuries. So if you're going to ride your cloud around, make sure you get your knee pads on.
Yep. I expect him to have a suitably large helm as well.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Oops, sorry, went too far. There we go. Okay. Ba-boom. So here is our image. This is obviously the rider's cloak. Here is the rider's shield, and then the rider's leg. He's clearly open in some way. Like, you can see he has an open stance. This is the fact that they have a shield makes me think it is. So either we're talking about a dual kit where you've got a melee build and an archer build, or my personal feeling is they're actually going to use javelins or something like that. Like, because that would, then you could, I mean, it could still be a dual kit, but it's an easy kit if you have him, like, with the, because he clearly looks like he's moving with his shield out and moving to throw. If you think about how you would throw a javelin, right, and how your body would move, if this is your shield arm and this is your throwing arm, right, when he goes out like this, and, like, this is how they try to do this stuff, right? So, like, he's clearly in a pose like this where he's throwing. That would explain the position of his shield perfectly. Right? So that's why I say I think it's a throwing weapon, not a, like, they have, like, wind javelins or something, right? That go super far because their javelins are carried aloft by the winds themselves or whatever.
So Martin Orlando is pointing out in the foreground, you see the scales with the white thing. He thinks that's the bottom of a banner. Like, this is like a banner bearer.
This right here? No, I think that's just a shield.
I can't see what you're saying this on.
That's fine. It'll catch up in a second.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, Martin, that's just a shield because of the way I just described the thing flowing out. Yeah, I know. You'll catch up in a second, Tom.
Yep.
I don't know.
I think that it's either, honestly, I think it's either a shield, or I'm sorry, I think that it's either a camel or an alpaca.
Yeah, clearly.
Yep. With the far range possibility that it might be a Spheranx, a different breed of Spheranx than the Mind Stealers.
Okay, gotcha. Look, I hope it has a weird head. I really do. Like, I think it'd be great if it had a weird face. Oh, he's saying no. I think there's a banner option in the kit. Yeah, sure, I would imagine so. That seems believable. I am here for elves riding armored alpacas or llamas or whatever this happens to be. Look, The Emperor's New Groove is clearly the best Disney movie released in the 90s. Fight me. I know it was released in 2000. I don't care. It still counts. It's
not Tyrion.
No, it's not. There's no Tyrannic parts to this. This isn't Tyrion. This is just the expansion of that. Tyrion will get heralded with a whole new thing. That'll be when they release a new Lumineth book. He'll have his own new forces. This is just the continued expansion of the Teklian forces that we said. Right. So whether it's some kind of, like, whatever's going on here with this animal, I'm here for it. I hope it's some kind of cool camel or alpaca or something like that. And I, like, first of all, that sounds amazing. Don't get your haterade around me, okay? This is great. Because, look, I know, Tom, you don't love this. Because you're like, I only like horses or eagles or dragons. I don't like other cool animals.
Or lions.
Sure. Okay. Yes. Exactly. Tom has like this one cadre of animals, and it's only the stuff that he initially liked when he first saw high elves. That's it. He
Well,
will never
it has
like
to do
anything
with
else. Doesn't matter
the
how good it is.
iconography.
Doesn't matter how cool it is. It was irrelevant. There are zero other creatures that Tom will ever accept. Go ahead, Tom.
It has to do with the iconography. It's not just the animals themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hate on the Gatorade that some people love.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this is your thing, you know what? Love your alpaca.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's fine. It's just not mine.
That's fine. I understand. Good for you, Tom. Good for you. But yeah, I think this is an amazing idea. I want to see more weird stuff like this. This is what I want. This is why I'm here and playing AOS and not generic fantasy tabletop game 7.2 that exists. Because I want fantasy. Bring me the weird.
To be clear, somebody said, be grateful they aren't riding platypi. They may as well be.
First of all, amazing. That would be great. I would look. First of all, we should be teasing the platypus as a cool AOS creature in some way.
Because
they're amazing.
what you're demonstrating to me, Vince, is I am 100% right. Because in what I just named, the platypi,
yes,
is in the same class for me of ridiculous, and for you, you're like yes, and so yes, they are the same class for you, and that it absolutely tells me no, thank you.
Sure. What I'm saying is, I would love to see the AOS sculptors take on something like a cool platypus monster that had long legs and could ride around.
Like I think
weird
what's happening here,
duck-billed furred creature, yes, that had poisonous talons.
I think the elves are trying to rival your Barnyard Busters.
Sure.
Because they now have cows and alpacas and other farm animals.
Yeah.
So we just need to wait for the chocobo chickens. And what's another farm animal? And we have horses already. So we have horses, cows, alpacas. We just need chickens.
I mean, Lumineth are more of a South American farm, whereas my orcs are more of a North American farm. But there you go.
Well, it doesn't matter. We have the new Barnyard Busters are out there, Vince.
Yes, I understand. And yes, these guys seem to be desert based. Like this particular legion seems to be basically like desert based. So probably having some kind of camel or alpaca or some creature like that is probably why they're there.
Oh, yeah, pigs. Pigs are the other thing that I forgot.
Sure. Look, man.
Old McDonald's.
You want to bring in some Porco Rosso? I'm all about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so what we're gonna get is rather than doing like the wild boars, it'll be like buck naked, like pink pigs.
Would I want somebody? So Keith asked, would I want these outlandish ideas for Slaanesh? Yes. You're talking about an army that rides around on anteater, Swedish steam cooker, like indescribable creatures with human legs. Like, yeah, man, I'm in for the weird. I think I signed on for that a long time ago. When I saw those new weird things that they have, those reptilian anteaters that they're riding around, I was like, yep, in for this 100%. So, yeah, man, you're not going to catch me out. No, get weird.
Yeah, remember, Vince, his favorite model of last year was the Mindsealer Sphinx.
Correct. So, yes, exactly. I'm in for llamas.
Let's be very clear here. Like, Vince's aesthetic taste is very particular.
I like llamas. I don't know what to tell you. You mix a llama with something else, you've got a winner on my hands.
Will you buy the llama elves, Vince?
Will I buy the llama elves? No, because I just don't like.
Because you like the mountains. You like the bull mountains.
I do like the mountains.
And now you like the potential of llama elves.
No, I'm keeping my powder dry for angel elves, homie. Like if Tyrion comes out and they're like weird, and again, when I say angel elves, you know how I feel about this. I want biblical angels.
You want biblical,
not Renaissance angels. I want six wings and eyes set in the wings and like rings of fire and stuff, just like crazy town.
Like wheels of fire, the whole deal.
Yeah. That's what I want out of my angel elves.
So when they show up and say, "Do not be afraid," it makes sense.
Yes, correct, absolutely, because they're a weird nightmare creature. Yeah, like you need to open with that when that's what you look like. Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you show up and you're just like a hot person, If you're like Lucifer from the show Lucifer and you show up and you're like, do not be afraid, I'd be like, I'm not. You're a pretty attractive guy. What's going on, man? What do you need? What's up, Tom Ellis? How can I help? All right. So, anyways, um, yeah, these guys are cool. I'll be interested to see what this whole release. It's interesting that we're splitting releases like this. I do think this is a portent of how kind of a lot of things are going to go going forward. Where like we don't get between the Slaanesh and now the Lumineth, we're seeing the armies broken up right into things.
Yep.
And I think that's probably going to continue to happen, where we have like a full army, quote unquote, like it releases, right, and it's playable, but then we end up expanding it not super long after, a year to two later.
We move away from the 4-year cycle.
Yeah, well, I think there's an advantage to it where they can, one, it keeps those people more invested more regularly, right? Yep. And two, it also is sort of less overwhelming if they want to do a big release, because then they, like, people will just not, like, I can't paint all that or whatever, right? It makes it less intimidating. You know, if it's kind of broken out, they're kind of forcibly helping us with the problem while still giving us plenty of stuff to buy over time. So that's great. Okay, Witch Hunter.
So now we've talked about all the elves.
All the elves are done. I'm excited for them. I can't wait to see. 3 kits. Sorry, I'll talk about that. While this is waiting to update, so Tom can see the image. 3 kits. Swordmasters, which I still think will be the new Venari thing, because I think they telegraphed that too hard. Cloud Mage and this kit, the Riders, right, that we just saw, that were talked about in the story, that are there.
I don't think any of those that you've just described are heroes. Do you think we'll get a hero too? Do you think we'll get another alpaca hero, or will it be part of the kit like it was?
I thought Cloud Rider was a hero.
I don't think so. I think the Cloud Riders are
like an actual unit. Like a 3-pack elite unit, like a Tzeentch Enlightened on disc. Oh,
because if you read the narrative, because they're being, like, the Blue Scribes are being harried by
groups of these guys.
By groups of these guys. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I dig that. That could be really cool. I would actually be much more on board for that as a unit than as a singular hero. I think that'd be great. Will we get a hero with it? Yeah, I would imagine so. It's hard to believe they do a release of just units and not a hero. I would love it if the Cloud guys were a cool unit. That's a good idea, Tom. I think that'd be a really neat match to the, like, Tzeentch Enlightened or those kinds of 3-packs of units.
Right.
Yeah, like, it's cool.
The other what are the Bow Zangor. I'm thinking on.
It's okay. Yeah. Skyfires is what you're going for.
Skyfires. Yes. There we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're like an anti-Skyfire wizard unit.
Yeah, sure. And, like, clearly this army has no problem making units into wizards, right?
Right. Like, the whole army is already wizards, so
they
have to be a hero.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't like they have to be a hero to be a wizard. All right, now back to Vampire Hunter D over here. Okay, so could not be happier to be right. Clearly, by the way, this is both those rumor engines. As you said, Tom, it is one thing. The guy has both in his hands, right? Like, you can see the hammer from the rumor engine, the shotgun / lever action crossbow or whatever is up over his shoulder. Dude has stakes everywhere.
Vampire stakes. Yep. Did I send you the image of the cover of that GW novel, the old world novel with the Vampire Hunter?
With Tollus and, do we have it right this time? Tollus and Cal?
No.
Okay, no, I don't know.
Callus and Toll.
Gosh darn it, I got it backwards again. Cannot remember those guys' names.
Here, I'm going to send you an image.
Hold on, pause. Berserk 212 said it's not a shotgun. It's not a crossbow. It's a stake launcher.
Yeah, of course.
That's exactly correct, Berserk, and I hate that I can't get it, Tom, but that's fine. I'll see if I can
you can't get it.
It's fine. It's all right. I'll see if I can get it.
Can I share my screen? Is that possible?
Here, I'll get it, Tom. It's fine. I got
do we live in a world where I can do that? Anyways,
I got it.
This literally looks like one of the witch hunters from the, like, AOS Chronicles novel, like the old world novel, like, come to life. And so the question is,
there's the image. I'll just put it up on the screen, big style, for a minute.
Yeah,
and block us out.
Like, if you look at, like, the belt, you look at, like, the coloration on the cloth on this guy, like, everything, it is literally as if, like, it's from the cover of this witch hunter novel. And so, like, this is a witch hunter, period.
Sure. But I mean, clearly focused on the new threat of vampires, right? Okay, I'm going to put the image away
Yes.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, this guy is. I am beyond stoked for this. Make this the whole Order of Aesir. Let's see it. I don't just want one guy. Like, please make this a whole thing. You want to talk about a thing I would buy hard and fast and just be clicking that buy button? Oh my god, this dude looks so cool.
Yes. To be clear, this is an army. If this is an entire army,
sure,
I'm in. I'm
Absolutely.
in. Like, just like I was with Witch Elves, I am 100% in on this guy if he is an entire army.
Yeah. The downside chance here, we know it's not an Underworlds thing because we have all those matched out, and he wouldn't match
but it
any of
could
those.
be a Warhammer quest thing.
But it could be the Warhammer quest thing you mentioned, which would make me very sad. That being said,
that be so sad?
It would be so sad. As long as you can still use him in AOS, it'll be okay. Like, that's cool. Put him. I don't like if he can just be a cities hero and he's a cool new cities hero. I don't hate that. Okay.
Yeah.
So like if this is a couple cool figs that get expanded, maybe we get a new city. Like there is a cool version of that, right? That they could do with the existing stuff, with like just a few new kits, and you know, so make it new Warhammer quest. There's 4 new heroes. They end up in Cities of Sigmar, and we get a new city that's kind of focused on this in some way, or whatever, like rules for these people who are hunting in their cities. Cool. Like, okay, that could be a great way to play it. I'm not opposed to that. Because then we're still in a new army book, and I'm fine. Right?
Yeah.
That would be perfectly good. What's up, Rerolling Ones, Jack? Hey, buddy, I hope you're having a good day. But honestly, I want an army of this so bad. Like, so bad. Give me the Force.
If we got a Order of Aesir or Devoted of Sigmar army, I'm 100% in.
Yeah, so like even if this was in cities and it was just an expansion for it, right? Like it's not a new battle tome. It's just Cities of Sigmar to the Orders of Aesir or something like that, right? Great, fine. Again, good, cool beans.
And if that's the case, I'm in. Like I'm 100% in. Like I'm going to pre-announce this.
Sure, absolutely. Because look, just this little bit of this dude, I was like, holy crap! This guy's amazing. And the fact that I hadn't put together that he's clearly wielding a lever action stake launcher.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I am very excited about this dude. Simple witch hunter picture. How many of my hopes and dreams I'm going to pour into you, only to likely have them dashed against the rocks, but that's okay.
So I went and bought, like, before they discontinued them, all of the old Warrior Priest models.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like all the variants. So like all the iterations of the Warrior Priest from Forge World and from all the classic stuff. And I have the Witch Hunter, like the Witch Hunter stuff from old school. So like I actually have the start of an Order of Aesir army. Like I have a bell from Screaming Bell for a chariot that I was going to do a big church bell like Order of Aesir style army. So like I've already got the makings of this.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, it's not
My
Old World
body
because
is ready.
Old World, by the way, is too far away. They're in like the concept art stage, not in we made models and they're painted. It's not Old World. I don't think it's Mordheim because they're not going to do anything with Mordheim. They'll do Mordheim when they do Old World. Like that's an easy fit. They'll do Old World and then they'll make a Mordheim skirmish game for it. Like because they like skirmish introductions to their games, right?
Right. Yep.
So the new Mordheim will come because I should state that because the Old World is also set in a past time, that can then align easily to Mordheim, right? So, you know, the downside risk here, the sort of thing we don't want to have happen is it's literally just one guy for a new Warhammer Quest game.
How much of a nightmare would that be?
I mean, again, it's the worst case, but it's still not terrible. Let me sketch out a band here, Tom. If let's say we're hunting, like let's say that whatever the new Warhammer Quest game is, it is all these like kind of hunters in the darkness, right? So you've got like a new witch hunter, a new warrior priest, a new flagellant, okay, and they're all kind of whatever, right?
Yep.
And or something like that, right? And then all those models just become stuff that you can use in your city's army. Again, that's fine. I would be okay with that. That would mean all these dudes are just cities models. As long as we get some new city that makes them interesting so you can use their rules in a cool way, that's fine. It's not the best case, but it's not terrible, is my point. Okay?
Right.
The best case scenario is we get a new Order of Aesir, like an army launching out from Aesir.
Man.
Have that sitting under... You could still, again, that could be City of Sigmar 2, the Orders of Aesir. Right? And, like, we could just have... The city could be Aesir and the forces it can marshal, right? Other than Stormcast.
Right.
Fine. That's our best case, where we get a whole army.
Oh, I would just...
Yeah, I know. We'd all buy a lot of it. I mean, let's be honest. This is... People are here for this. That's why I hope amongst hope that there is an army, because they have to know how much people want this stuff. That people are here for this. Right?
Right. Yep.
So I just, I think that's likely. Could it be a Warhammer Quest set in the old world? No, I don't think they'll do that. It just doesn't make sense. They're going to live in their current setting until they have a different setting. Like, there's no reason for them to left turn and publish something like that.
I hate you, Doom. If these witch hunters are riding hippos.
Well, then they would be truly deadly. All right, so, yeah. Anything else we want to say about the witch hunter other than he is B to the A?
I love it. I hope their terrain piece is a witch pyre.
Dark. Okay. Well, you saw how that
they
ended.
Erect one, and they can erect a new one every time they kill a wizard or priest hero model.
Yeah, sure. I would just like to point out how that ended for these guys in Castlevania, the anime series on Netflix. That did not end well for them. So be careful, what you end up with here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this guy. So as I said, we're going to leave the death model with the shield out for a second. It's clearly a new skeleton of some kind, but there's too little to tell. This guy we can actually see a lot. Okay. So let's talk about this guy, Tom. Okay. Now, the reason I have this shot, I have two different shots of this guy. The reason I kept this shot, and this is only here in the video for like a half a second, is because you can clearly see his other hand, and that he's holding something unusual in a weird way, like keys or something. Like, I couldn't make it out. Yeah, like, he's holding something that's not necessarily a sword, or he's holding the sword in a weird way. Because it's just in his top fingers.
The handle that comes through with a hook that comes through the fingers.
Yeah, it could be like a small pistol or something. Like, it kind of has a pistol feel, given where his index finger is, right? It looks like it's under a guard. You see what I'm saying? Like, it looks like he's holding, like, a small pistol.
Yep.
Right? But
it has the heavy trench coat feel, though, of Witch Hunter as well.
It does. But but when we get to the next image, I think we're going to go a different way. But sure.
Sure.
I think this is the death guy.
His skin is also green.
His skin is also green, yes. And then, so here's the front version of this guy with his axe and his little scruffy beard. So I think this guy's clearly an orc. Some people had said they thought this is like an ogre beard.
Well, yeah. So, like, I think so initially I thought it was an orc. Mm-hmm. Like, I was 100% behind that this dude is an orc. And I based that on the hands. So the hands with the fingernails.
Yeah.
And then also the teeth, like the gums. Like not the teeth themselves, but the gums around the teeth, because like that's how they do.
I understand that he just doesn't have an ogre build.
Well, so the question is, but because the teeth are worn down as much as they are, like I wonder if this is an emaciated ogre.
I think it's an orc. I think it's clearly an orc.
Do you think it is an orc? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that was my initial go-to. I thought it was an orc initially.
Yeah.
And then wondered if it was an emaciated undead ogre.
So this is a death guy, as near as I can read. I mean, we should point out the video ends with, like, destruction, blah, blah, decadence, and death, or whatever, So, like, okay, cool. Do any orcs have facial hair? Sure, if they want them to. Like, instantly orcs have a beard if they decide that these orcs have a beard, right? Like,
right.
So that's fine. And I think this guy's dead. I think they again, the pitting on the weapons and stuff.
Yeah,
they love this.
It's aesthetic that's traditional for death.
Yeah, it's one of their like visual signifiers for death. right?
Yep.
They use these
Yep.
different like visual cues to separate things. And this guy, let's just take a look at this coat again. Yes, you said it kind of looks like the Witch Hunter coat. I would point out it kind of looks like a piratey coat, Tom, especially
like
with these, like a buccaneer coat, especially with these things. So, and his little, yeah, like, I'm back on board for pirates, but we might not just be getting vampirates. We might just be getting like dead pirates,
undead pirates.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like we're talking about a broader death release, wherein we've got a sort of pirate force.
No. This is just no. You know what this tells me, by the way? If this is indeed an undead pirate orc,
which already amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that is the case, two things: we're not getting vampires as a faction.
Right. Okay.
We're not.
Yeah.
What we're getting is we're getting a warband. We're going to get a warband that is pirate-ish, like, again, Wraith Fleet or whatever, you know, and that it's not a broader release.
Sure. Two options for this guy. Let's chart out the options. Option one.
Yeah.
This is another member of the crew of the Underworld's warband releasing in March, which I think is where you're going.
I think that's what this is. I think he is part of the crew of an undead warband, probably pirated by a vampire.
Yep.
And that will be the extent of our release. I don't think we'll see that in a full army. If that does happen, and if this is mixed death stuff, we're not going to get a full army.
Sure. So option one, exactly right. Option one, and seemingly that would make sense, right? If this is the second, like this is the vampire's sort of undead orc pirate bruiser, right?
Right.
And like in death, it would give them a good example to do two different races, to have a cool one-off sculpt of a dead orc, right?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Right.
So this could just be the second member of that crew, right?
I don't want that to be true. For the record, this is not what I want, but this is what I think will happen.
Yep. That's fine. So that's option one, okay? Which is probably the likely option. Okay. Yeah. So I want to talk, well, again, I'm not a fate man, I'm an odds man, right?
Right.
And so this feels like that's the likely option. Like this is the bosun or whatever, you know, I don't know ship terms, but you know what I'm saying, right? This is her lieutenant, her shipwright. This is her orc beater, undead beater, right? Her Zombork beater.
It's her number 2.
Sure. Okay, Brian says if it's an orc, I'll eat my hat. Well, I don't know. Feels pretty orc-y to me, but that's fine. We could see what else it is. But the point is it's part of that crew. Okay?
Yes.
All right. It could also be a skinny, like it could be a very emaciated ogre zombie. Sure, that's fine. It doesn't have the build, but again, you might be right. Could be a rotten ogre. That's fine. Either way, still part of that crew, right? I tend to think it looks like an orc, but it could be a rotten ogre.
And you've painted a couple.
I've painted a couple, but I mean, again, who knows? You know, like again, somebody said orcs have claws, not fingernails. I mean, orcs just tend to have sharp fingernails, but you know, I don't know that there's a huge difference there. They're not taloned beasts. They just tend to let their nails grow into sharp fangs. They could always not do that. But again, who knows? Okay. And
by the way, we haven't seen the top of this, but this dude has a tricorn hat. You know that, right?
Of course he does, yes. Grinaldi, the ornamented shield is from a different model. The one that we saw. That is a skeletal model. You can see the bone leg and the bone hand gripping the weapon. We talked about that in the video up top. So I can jump back to the video and show it in a second if there's any questions. But the model with the big ornate but dead shield is a skeleton. That's okay. At any rate, the second option is that in our death release that's coming, like we know there is a death release coming, okay?
Right. And one of the things, good.
And I still think it's going to be largely like vampire driven, but I think we're going to, as I said on the preview show, looking back at all of the different models, it's clear that we're getting a lot of different death, right? We're getting a different take on it. We'll probably get different sculpts. It'll be more than just vampires. We'll have their minions too, right?
Right.
So the other option is this is part of some kind of crew where we've got like just dead. Like the other option, the less likely option, but one I would hope for, is that there's again we get like the Mortarch of the Abyss or something like that, and it has the Are we sure this is the same as the last image? Yes. If you spin it around, you can actually see the axe in one of the back images. Like in this, if you let this image spin all the way around, you actually can see the axe in his offhand.
Yeah.
So yes, I am sure this is the same model. Like here to here is the same guy. Now the shield guy is different. The other options we're talking about, like, you know, death pirates, dead pirates, zombie pirates, whatever you want to call them, right? And so that would be kind of our best case scenario, right? Just to remind everybody here, I'll go back to what I was talking about in the video. Here's because I kept it up. Here's the guy that's the guy with the shield. You can see the skeletal hand. You can see the skeletal leg, right? So this is a different model with a long cloak, not a coat, with a different weapon loadout, just stuff like that, right? Okay. Just to remind everybody who's new or wasn't there when we reviewed the video earlier in the video. This is, you can see the bony skeletal leg right here. This is a skeletal creature with a rotten shield and a bony hand, right?
Yep.
So, okay. Cool beans. We all agree, different models. We're back on board. Now let's get back to this guy, okay? You know, the other option is that we have like a Vampire Coast sub-faction where there's like vampires the lead, but lots of dead minions and zombies and stuff like that in the eventual death release, where it's just like the Mortarch of the Abyss leads this new thing, and we've got 5-6 new kits, and that's kind of that faction under this Mortarch, and then you've got all this other new death stuff under the existing death leaders, right? I've said before, I think they're going to do new Blood Knights. I think that one just feels automatic. That's a moneymaker, pure and simple. I think it's something that the sculptors would have wanted to resculpt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it just feels like, I think it just feels like either, so those are the two options. One, this is the second crew member of the March Underworld's Warband. Two, we're going to get this as a sub-theme in the full death release. Those are the two options to me.
Well, so what it tells me, though, is that, I mean, I hear that, but because of his jacket, it tells me that he is themed nautical. So
100% agree.
What that means is that, yes, either he is constrained as a crew member, or he's part of an expanded faction within that's piratey. Yeah, okay. I mean, what I'll say is this. When we did a things we most wished for, maybe this was like last year's show. I think this was maybe last year's show when we did our prediction show.
Yeah.
And I talked about a death army that has like undead things that aren't humans. And like this seems, no matter which way we go, this seems that.
It's definitely not a dead human. I can be sure of that. I'm like, that's right. Yes, I'm willing to put my money down on the table on that one.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, regardless, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Because I love us getting dead, not humans. You know, like because I think I remember that, like, I made the joke when we were talking about the skeletons that like necromancers only raise human skeletons. They don't raise anything else.
There's just no other bodies around, apparently.
Yeah. Yes. But. So that's the first thing. And then somebody had asked in the comments of, hey, do you think that they'll take this as a hint? Like, if we don't get vampires this time, do you think GW will see the demand? I mean, let me just say, I think they already see the demand because we're getting a warband regardless.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Whether it's part of the army, they know we want it. They want it because they've clearly made a warband regardless if we wanted an entire army.
And Underworlds is often a test bed for their concepting sculpts. Like things like Warhammer Quest. Warhammer Quest and Underworlds tend to be test beds for concept sculpts.
And so at the soonest, if that is the case, and it is a test bed, and they're testing the market, the earliest that you can expect an expansion like that would probably be about 18 months, which is what we saw with Slaanesh.
Yeah.
Slaanesh would have been about 18 months after the original release, which makes sense. Like if something gets fast tracked.
It's not just that. It could already be in the concept stage, and they could have test sculpts, and then they're just filling out the rest. Right.
Right. They're fitting into the schedule. They're having the, molds engineered, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I suspect that, I don't want this to be the case, but I suspect that the Vampirates are only this small warband. But if we raise enough ruckus, I think that, and people really buy into this warband, do it. Mm-hmm. We could get a full line.
Sure. Get ready for a ruckus.
If I'm wrong, then I'm going to have a camper, and I'm probably going to buy 2 new armies this year.
Sure.
Both this and the Witch Hunters. Worst case scenarios is this isn't entire armies, and these are all just one-off models.
Right. And all the things you want as armies, Tom, are not armies, and all the things in the armies aren't the things you want. We'll see if Tom has a... Flip a coin. Tom has the best 2021 or the worst 2021. Who knows? Right. That's what we're teasing here.
But what we didn't see this time, by the way, we don't have anything else, right?
Nope, that's it. That's the last image.
So let me point out, though, that what we didn't see is anything that wasn't in the cards. So in our prediction show.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
In our prediction show, there's nothing in these images that aren't in alignment with what we had called.
Yeah.
They are, in fact, the exact armies that we had predicted in.
New Death, LRL Part 2, right?
An Order of Azir, Vampire Hunter.
Yep.
I mean, ta-da!
Sure. No, I mean, I think that stuff was all just in the cards, right? Right. I understand what you mean now. Yes, it was absolutely there. I think that was just reading the tea leaves of looking at the rumor engines. It's what was clear to be there. Okay.
Now, these could still be we could still be off, right? These could not be full armies. These could, yada, yada.
There will be a new Death release. That's not a question. There will be a full new Death release.
Right. It's just probably not the Pirate Warband.
Thank you, Goops. I appreciate it, buddy. The question is, yes, how much of it is piratey, right? And that's still what remains to be seen. Right. So, no, I was very happy with all this. It's going to be a really interesting first quarter, right? Because I think we'll see most of this stuff come to light over the next couple months. I mean, obviously, the Slaanesh release will actually happen. We'll know the next Broken Realms book. My money's still on Gordrak, as we said in the previous show, right? We'll probably get a better look at the Death faction, because one would believe whenever they do their either Adepticon full reveal show, because there won't be an Adepticon, but they'll do a live show somewhere in there. I don't know if they'll do an LVO one. At one of those two, they're going to spoil whatever Death stuff is coming, right? So either late in January, where we see it then, or in the March reveal show.
Yep.
Because with those cons canceled, they're still going to do those live reveal shows. There's no reason they're not going to get 40,000 people to come watch something on Twitch. I mean, it's pretty easy. So, yeah, I'll tell you what I was most happy about with this, Tom. All the really interesting stuff was AOS.
Right?
When I looked at the 40K stuff, I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Need a cannon,
some kind of Chaos War machine.
Yeah,
an Imperial Knight thing, and an Adeptus Mechanicus guy that we already saw previously. So, okay, cool.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm hoping we see a lot of this stuff soon. In more detail.
The big question for me, by the way, so let's say that this is the first 6 months of releases.
Sure. But I think we can pretty solidly say this is somewhere between the first 3 to 6 months, right? Just knowing what we know. Right.
So does that mean that the Order of Azir is not an actual release, but a hero pack, like I called with the Callison Toll?
Hard to tell. It would be earlier in the year than you're talking about, right? Because we had placed that firmly in Q3, not
right.
Q2.
Right, because we had talked about, and the same with the LRL. Is we had placed that in Q3 in June.
Yeah, that feels like we're getting it much sooner than I expected, which is great. I'm happy about that. Good, that sounds fantastic. Maybe that'll be April. I don't know.
Right.
It feels like if they were going to slot it in, that's where they'd stick it, right? That it would be the April.
Yeah. Release. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'm excited. The Witch Hunter, more than anything else, that Witch Hunter has me on board.
Absolutely. I mean, this is great stuff. Between Pirate Coat, Orc or Ogre, Axeman, Bosun, Zombie guy here, this incredible Witch Hunter that we cannot get in our hands soon enough. And then Llama Riding Elves and Cloud Riding Monkey King Goku Elves. It's going to be a banner year all around, that's for sure.
And that Witch Hunter is amazing.
He really is. He really is. All right. So, is Broken Realms Tyrion on the docket? No, it is not. There's no Tyrion coming this year. Put that to rest. Like, Tyrion is 2021 at earliest.
Yep.
Or 2022, sorry, at earliest. I keep forgetting what year it is now. 2022 at earliest. Sorry. Like, I want it too, but it's just, no, it's way out in the future. All right.
Yep.
So there we go. Did we get anything wrong? What else did you see? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit like. Thank you all for watching. This was a super fun, even though it was a miniature reveal, it was really great. Can't wait to see all these figs in reality in beautiful, full, nice lit shots. As opposed to this noir lighting they do their rumor engine shots in. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you didn't already. But as always, we will be back and we will see you next Wednesday.